Okay, so one thing we get asked a lot about our trips is what boots do I need for the trip? Obviously, depending on which trip you're on, that's going to answer that question. But in terms of boots and shoes, for some trips, things like approach shoes are perfectly suitable. So for like our Sahara Desert trek, you could just get a great pair of walking shoes, or approach shoes as they're more commonly called, and they would be perfect for your trek. We wouldn't advise wearing trainers, but approach shoes with a really good walking sole on them are really good. For some of our other treks like Mount Toubkal, Kilimanjaro, Everest Base Camp, I used to use more of a B2 style boot like these La Sportiva Trangos, but recently I have moved to these ones, which are the TX4 GTXs. And they're a mid boot, so they've got a higher ankle on them, so it will stop you from turning your ankle. But they are like wearing an approach shoe all day long, but giving you that ankle support. Obviously, I'm not going to put a crampon on these. If I have to go and I'm doing a Toubkal, or if I'm on an Everest Base Camp, Gokyo Lakes, and there's a chance that I'm going to need to wear a crampon, then I will take a more style B2 boot like this one. Which will then fit into a crampon. If you are going on to do some of our other treks, like Island Peak or Mira Peak, then you're going to want to go something more stiffer like these Nepals. You might want to go for a double line boot if you really feel the cold and you get cold feet. Now for me, for Island Peak, you're only summiting for one night where you're going to probably need to wear these. So these for me are perfect. I won't get a pair of plastic boots. I'll do them and make sure that they're big enough to wear a good 2 pairs of socks, really warm pair of socks to keep my feet warm. But these will just clip into the crampon. So when you're looking at your boots for crampons, what you're looking at is to get this plastic instep at the back. Because when you're fitting your boot to the crampon, when you've got gloves on, you want to fit them really easily, so they just clip into place like so. So that's what you're looking for in a boot. So this is a B3 boot, this is a B2 boot. I wouldn't say these are a B1 boot. These are more of an approach shoe with a higher ankle. But for the majority of our trekking trips, something like this is actually really suitable. I mean, for Kilimanjaro, Everest Base Camp, I always used to do the first part of it in approach shoes, and then when I got to the summit, then I would look at putting my boots on for the final bit. But now I've done Kilimanjaro, I've done Everest Base Camp in this style boot, and they are perfectly adequate. So if I were you, I would go into a specialist shop, explain what they're doing, and they will advise you what's best for you to have for your trek. But for me now, when I've been wearing these, at the end of the day, it feels like I've been wearing a pair of trainers as opposed to wearing a much stiffer boot. So they're just better for me. But everyone has personal preference with what you have, but just make sure you're thinking about what you're using and also the weight of them as well. Like you certainly wouldn't want to be trekking Everest Base Camp up to Island Peak in a pair of these. You're going to at least want a pair of approach shoes or something like this, and then use these for summit night. So just think about what you're getting. Thanks very much.